Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Effect episode 42. So week 7 preview with a little bit of wide receiver re-ranks in here. We are brought to you by Dynasty Theory in partnership with Dynasty Daddy, and as always, Fantasy Football Infinity. We're minus host in here. It's just Holler and Ron tonight. How's it going, Holler?
It's going well. I'm a little worried with the brains is missing from the.
I know.
You
You did a good job clicking the buttons though.
Yeah,
so
we'll see.
We're off to a great start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry for any weird pauses. Spanky's got it down, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
We'll make it through one. Yep.
Yeah, I think we can do it. Between the two of us, we got a whole brain. So let's go.
You know it.
Okay, so in our news, we got the Rams. They signed a few crappy running backs.
Yep. I did see that Kyron might be out for a couple weeks, so I don't know. To me, it'll be a
cast type thing and a scooter.
Yeah. Yep. I saw that, and then it was his. I didn't see if it was a high ankle sprain or exactly what it was, but I just saw ankle sprain. So we'll see. That's probably going to linger a little bit. So that's not good. I mean, they already throw the ball 500 times a week, so we'll see. It's good for Cooper Kupp and Puka.
Hell yeah, it is. It's great news for them.
Do
you care about any of these running backs? You're our local resident LA Rams guy. Do you care about any?
No, it'll be a committee. I read somewhere that probably Darrell Henderson, the guy that's been there before,
sure.
They know him a little bit, so he'll probably
front.
He'll probably have the most carries, but I think it'll just be they'll probably get 20 max out of those 2 or 3 running backs that they use.
I see Royce to 5'9" on here, man.
Yeah,
that's exciting,
right? My goodness,
believe it. That's
and then
feels
also
like a blast from a past, but it wasn't that long ago, was it?
Not at all. And then Myles Gaskin as well. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Just grab a bunch of crappy
man.
Yeah, I don't he
understand. He catches passes.
He does. So that's probably why he's there.
That's all Stafford needs. Just somebody catch it.
Yep. We'll see. And then what's the rookies? He might be the best running back out of the few.
Oh, the Zach Evans character?
Yeah, Zach Evans.
I see his name pop up in the Dynasty Theory Discord. You guys should sign up. If you want to sign up for it, we can get you the link. Just DM
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's free unless
you
it's free, but then we also have some Patreon in there. So I encourage. This was a crazy one. Julio Jones. My goodness, what in the world? Another blast from the past.
Yeah, right. Blast from the past, and it wasn't too long ago.
Yeah.
Dude. Head scratcher, but then we kind of talked about it pre-show a little bit. Devonta didn't practice with a hamstring today, so I guess it makes some sense to bring somebody in, but there's nobody else out there. And we kind of seen Julio do this over the past few years. He went to Tampa and did it.
Yep.
Tennessee.
I mean, out of all the places, I feel like he could probably I wouldn't say be productive, but he'll actually probably get a few passes. I don't know if I doubt this weekend. But I think I also saw Quez Watkins. He went on the IR, so I think that's also why they grabbed into their body. So it was weird. I thought he was done. And then I saw a lot of people throwing fab on Julio Jones. I don't know.
What are you doing? Are you throwing fab on Julio? No, me neither. I don't care about Julio.
I either have teams that have really good really good wide receivers, and those teams are competing, or I have rebuilds, and there's no reason for Julio, and so I didn't even put a waiver claim in for him.
Yeah, well, we got your boy Lambo Lenny visiting the Bills. How excited are you?
I said, who cares? That's the guy that I thought that maybe the Rams might go out and get him, I threw a question in the Discord, and a lot of people said he probably was kind of dead. So I'm assuming he's dead, and kind of like what you said in the beginning of the shows, pre-show, is that he probably wants too much money. And so
Yeah.
it's just probably not working out. Is it interesting that the Bills, though, that's another one that I feel like he probably would fit in there,
Mhm.
just because like they're
Title
using,
chasing.
they're using Latavius Murray quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if you want some old geriatric running backs, Latavius
yeah,
Murray is your guy.
right.
I thought the timing of your question was super funny, and then Lenny visiting like the very next day, like right after you asked it, like he went on a visit. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was that's the first guy I thought of though, because I was like, they're doing all right. They need like a big, they need a
Sure.
big back, and so I thought
Yeah,
that might
Damian
work.
Harris
But
went down to scary injury.
yeah.
Uh
All right, now some injuries,
Demersay?
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also saw today that they came out and he actually is going to have surgery on that
Yes.
AC sprain. So
Yes.
he's
They sat down and had a intervention, or they had a talk with him. Maybe they should have an
interesting.
intervention with Ursay as well. That's neither here
That
nor there.
so yeah, he's done for the season. I think that's changed from probably to actually done.
Yeah.
And so, I saw mixed emotions through the Discord a little bit. And for me, I have him on like one or two teams that I thought that would that could compete. They're like middle of the road right now, so an injury there with him is really going to hurt it. And so if you have him on teams that are like rebuilding, then there you go. You're not going to be,
Right.
getting any points there. And
Woohoo.
I think for him the biggest thing though is he needs reps. He needs game time reps, and so I think it's going to hurt him a little bit. But put Gardner Minshew in there. They're probably not going to win too many games. They'll get like a bit of a better draft pick, and so they'll probably be a little
Sure.
bit of a better team next year with whoever they get. Jonathan Taylor will be fully healthy. Hopefully they
Right.
get another wide receiver. So we'll see.
Which receiver you think it is?
I can tell you now, but I mean, there's a lot coming out in 24.
I
So
I wonder if Ursay gets the old feels for Marvin Harrison
that
Jr.
would
and just
be,
ships everything out the window to get him
yeah,
to town.
that would be interesting, but I don't think they'll be bad enough for him because I think he's going top 5. Depending, I don't know too much obviously about the defensive players, but I do think
Sure.
he's if not like one of the best players
To
coming
my
out.
knowledge, he's top, like you said, top 3 to 5 is
Yeah.
where he's
Yeah.
going, and that's because there's 2 quarterbacks in the class that
Yep.
should be going before him pretty much. So
Yep.
I haven't heard about too many pass rushers or anything like that. As for my draft studies,
Yeah, they usually come out
okay,
later on, and when we're doing Debbie,
yeah,
it's all about the offensive players anyway, so we don't
right.
really care too much
Right,
about the
right, right.
defensive players.
I do. I listen to the defensive side of the ball too, for what it's worth. I care
Yep.
about
All
you
right.
defenders. Okay.
All right. All right.
So Kyron Williams out at least a week with a sprained ankle. We kind of touched on that with the Rams. Ryan Tannehill, questionable for this weekend with a high ankle sprain. I didn't get to see Malik Willis on the field this weekend. Did you?
I
Okay.
did not look. That game was, I think, when I saw out of question. So I just kind of was like, oh, interesting that he's in.
Sure.
I thought I didn't know that Tannehill got injured. So I was just like,
Hmm.
I just thought they were out of the game. And so I just figured, oh, okay, maybe they're just going towards, get some other reps for Malik. I'm
Yeah.
assuming he will start if Tannehill doesn't go. And if he does, that's not good.
No. It's kind of odd. They have Will Levis sitting there. And they started Josh Dobbs over Malik Willis last year.
We're both dumb. I just realized the Titans have a bye this weekend.
Sweet.
Good.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He's got a whole week to heal up that
Yep.
high ankle sprain. Still not great.
Yeah.
Ankle sprains suck. Okay, David Montgomery. This one stings a little bit, and he's
Yeah,
going to be out for a little bit with his rib cartilage injury. We do have the bye upcoming in week 9.
Okay.
Week 9.
They have a big game
So,
this weekend, though. We can touch on
big
that in a
game
little
versus the
bit.
Ravens. Yep. And
Yeah.
then we're going to hit the Raiders after that, and then the bye week. So I don't be surprised you don't see David Montgomery till after the bye week at this point.
Just we'll touch on that the lines a little bit more, and when we hit the preview. Trevor
Yes.
Lawrence is day to day with a knee injury. I saw on Twitter or X, whatever it's called nowadays, but I saw he had a knee brace. It looked like he wasn't moving that well. Haven't heard much else, so just unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely tough stuff. We like his mobility, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, a dislocated thumb. He's probably definitely going to be out this weekend, possibly longer.
That's what I've heard. Definitely out this weekend. We got that backup guy playing, whatever his name is.
Badgent, Tyler Badger. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, is this good for Justin Fields or is this bad for Justin Fields? Because he kind of lit it up the past 2 weeks, correct? I'm pretty sure it was 2 weeks. And then he dislocates his thumb and he exits the game and probably is going to miss a few weeks. This has got to be good for his value, I would guess, because of the good 2 weeks prior to the injury, and now he's just not going to be on the field stinking with the Bears, so they can just continue to tank.
Yep. So I think for his value, it's good, but for him, I would say it's not good because I think he was putting together some good games. So I think he needed to keep having that momentum.
Stay on the field.
So stay on the field and get the momentum. Maybe his, the passing was getting a little bit better. He was, feeling even more confident with DJ Moore. So, personally, I think that's not good. But if you wanted to go out and acquire him or something, I think obviously his value is a little bit higher. But I think it's probably going to kind of stay the same now, and he probably won't either go higher or go down, obviously, because he's not playing.
Yeah.
So for him, it's not good. For the Bears, I think it is good because I think they'll probably stink it up for another how many weeks he's out.
All right, we had both CMC and Deebo Samuel go down. Thanks, guys, because you cost me in the eliminator.
I saw that.
Anyway, God, I still can't believe it. That damn missed field goal. Jake Moody.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
Never
I hate kickers, man.
Don't draft it. Yeah, don't draft a rookie kicker, man. You want people that are like confident. I mean, maybe they're not the best, but they know what they're doing. They've been there before. Like that guy, definitely got him.
Yeah,
the rookie.
They definitely, the crappy
rookie jitters.
Anyway, so they have a shot to play this weekend. I did see Deebo come out and say he was very sore. Like he was in so much pain he couldn't even go back into the game. You kind of see the way that Deebo plays the game. It is pretty physical nature. So it seems like a pretty tough guy to me, the way he walks around. So he must be in quite a bit of pain.
Yep. And unfortunately, it's a Monday night game. So hopefully we get some more information coming out before, like Friday, Saturday. Not before Friday, but they comes out Friday, Saturday. But unfortunately, it's definitely, if you hear anything about CMC possibly playing, it's there's no way you can sit him. And so we'll see. I don't know if he's going to play both of them. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah. Who are they playing on Monday night? The Vikings?
They are playing the Vikings. That is correct.
Yeah, they might not feel a need to.
Yeah, right. Especially if either of them are, like kind of on the edge, I would say just sit them both, and they should be able to. Well, obviously they lost to the Browns, but the Browns have a really, really good defense.
They do,
and the weather was, that weather is something. So the Vikings don't have anywhere near that same defense. So I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. You want to move on to these wide receiver ranks?
Let's do it. So
okay.
Why don't you take it away?
Okay, so we have at the top Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Sorry, Jake. I did realize that was happening as it left my lips. So at the top, JJ and Chase. I think that's pretty much chalk across the board. I have Amon-Ra as the third wide receiver because Lions and all, and he's scoring the same points. You can't stop him. He's always open, and Jared Goff loves to go to him. Need him, gotta have it. It's going to Amon-Ra anyway. AJ Brown is just getting like buku targets from Jalen Hurts at this point. It almost feels like nobody else exists right now. Chris Olave, I still have up there because I really love Chris Olave. He's just so smooth, and he's such a good wide receiver. I'll always value him highly, I think. And then below that, I have Tyreek, Waddle, Devonta. And then it's kind of a big cluster. Garrett Wilson should be up there as well for me. But then basically where your tier 4 starts there at Steph Diggs, you can put all those guys together for me.
Yeah. So yeah, mine looks a lot, quite a bit the same. I have Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase up there as tier 1. No different for Jefferson, even if he misses the whole year. The one thing that I do worry about with Justin Jefferson, I think we talked about it last week or the week before, that there's a little bit of question marks with Kirk Cousins. But if they are not, if they stink the rest of the season, right, they're gonna get one of those good quarterbacks. So
hopefully
I think
it's Drake May.
Yeah, I agree. So I think right there you'll probably plop in Drake May, and Justin Jefferson will continue being as good as he is, right? Jamar Chase, no one better than those two guys. So that's my tier 1.
Maybe.
Yep. And I think things are starting to get looking up for Jamar Chase, and honestly the Browns are the Bengals altogether. And then tier 2, I have Tyreek Hill up there as number 3, just because right now he is putting up numbers like nobody's business, right?
Sure.
He is already up to 1,000, almost up to 1,000 receiving yards. And I thought maybe Waddle would cut into that a little bit more as Tyreek gets a little bit older, but no, it's the first guy that Tua looks to is always Tyreek. So that's why I have him up there.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Do you have any age concerns with Tyreek? You think he's going to slow down?
It was a little bit weird. I was watching last week, and he kind of just I don't know if you saw, he kind of slowed up on his own. I think they said he was cramping. So I mean, I personally, I don't have any injury or age concerns. The one kind of concern I would say is that he has already come out and said he kind of wants to retire in 2025, but that is 2 more years, right? So if you are a contending team, some of these other guys like Amon-Ra and then AJ Brown. I mean, sometimes AJ Brown doesn't show up, right? So that's why the one person I probably could put above Tyreek and feel good about it would be Amon-Ra. So my tier 2 is probably kind of intermingled with those 3 guys, and then tier 3 I have CD, Waddle, Olave, and Devonta Smith. I haven't really moved Devonta Smith down yet, just because he's connected with Jalen Hurts. He's got AJ Brown on the other side, so I do think it will get figured out this year. I do know that his targets are a little bit down, but I think maybe he was, especially last week, I think he was injured a bit. It came out that his hamstring, and so I don't really have a clear cut, number 6 through 10 right there. All those guys could kind of mix around, but if I had to pick, I'd probably put CD at 6, Waddle at or Olave at 7, Waddle at 8, and then Devonta Smith at 9, and then Garrett Wilson at 10. I have kind of a tier break there between 9 and 10, because Garrett Wilson's he needs a new quarterback, 100%.
So does Davante Adams. I'm concerned for his health. If Jimmy Garoppolo continues to play quarterback.
100%. That's why I put Davante Adams down at tier 5. So I rounded out tier 4 with Garrett Wilson, Stephon Diggs, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, and Cooper Kupp. And then my tier 5 was Drake London, Brandon Ayuk, Jordan Addison, Davante Adams, and my boy Puka. I have him at WR20, right? So I think I was looking at who I could put. I wanted to put 20 wide receivers in there, and I was just trying to look in who I could put ahead of, or who I would put ahead of him. And one person that probably could be ahead of him, he's just having a really bad year, is T. Higgins. And honestly, I could probably swap out T. Higgins for Davante Adams.
What about Zay?
Zay Flowers?
Yeah.
I think he's having a great year, but I worry about that Ravens passing offense, right? They all talked big in the beginning of the year, or in the offseason. It is we're going to have this big, huge, passing offense, and we haven't really seen much. And I think that's all stems from Harbaugh just being a pound the rock guy. They have Dobbins always gets injured, and just they still have anybody and everybody running the ball. So I just think, and I've even seen Zay Flowers run the ball a little bit. So I think they're always going to be a run first offense.
Definitely, I agree. Zay has got 2 games under 8 targets this season.
Okay.
And one of those games is against that vaunted Cleveland defense.
Jake, I like this though. Jake says, yeah, people are very confused why folks are higher on Addison than Flowers. Honestly, probably for me, it's because there's he's connected to a better passing quarterback, right? So right now, they're, and also with Jordan or with JJ out, I think Addison's going to, benefit from that. So as of right
it's
now,
worse for Addison that JJ's
really
out. Yeah. So my thought process was with Addison is because I've never really liked Lamar as a passer. So that kind of knocked Zay down for me. Zay only had like the 1 year of production in college as well.
Yeah.
So he was kind of, I was kind of trying to determine the dude a flash in a pan, or is he actually talented? I kind of thought he was a Marquise, a Hollywood Brown just clone deal kind of coming out here into the Ravens offense. And, I really like Jordan Addison's tape. He's got all the Pitt tape. He gets Kenny Pickett drafted in the first round. He go look at Caleb Williams right now without Jordan Addison on the field. But then Addison runs the slow 40, right? But like you were saying, I really like Kirk Cousins as his quarterback who knows, when a guy's open, he's going to get him the ball. And Jordan Addison can run a route, that's for sure. I mean, we've seen him do it, but I don't know that he's the number one in your offense. I think he really benefited from seeing that number 2 corner, and I think maybe the production could even go down on Addison's end.
Yep. I hope to. I want to disagree, but I totally understand. And so Jake, honestly, Zay Flowers is one of the guys that I might put in there instead of Puka, or maybe instead of Devontae Adams. So kind of there's, I wanted to stick to 20. So there's kind of a cluster there in tier 5. Sure. And there's probably, let's see here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in there. Honestly, I probably could put closer to like 8, and Zay Flowers and T. Higgins would be in there for sure. And then Wes says
Christian Kirk in there.
Yeah, definitely. He's right there on one of my top 25, definitely. And then I like this one as well. Wes says, so Puka is a sell right now. For me, he's not a sell just because I'm in love. But yes, if you want good advice, yes, sell Puka now.
I should sell.
Yes, because if he's not connected to Stafford, I've seen he looks like a really good wide receiver, but I think a lot of it has to do with Stafford, throwing the ball so much. And
that's Kenny Galladay, how that works out.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll see. And obviously, we saw a little bit of dip last week. I'm hoping that we have another good game on Sunday for Puka, and then you can go out and try to sell him.
Puka Nacua.
I will probably try to sell him on any teams because I do have him on some teams that are rebuilding. So I want him to have another good game, try to get another 80 yards maybe or something, and then I'll try to sell him then. Last week was not a good week.
What's it take to get your Puka? What's it take to get your Puka?
If I was so with my rebuilding teams, I'd probably take a first and then maybe like a young guy, so like another young wide receiver or even a young running back. So like maybe Tajay Spears and a first, maybe if it's like a mid first. And I think that maybe that owner thinks their team's going to be good, but I can find some kind of loopholes in it. I'd probably go with it there, or maybe like I don't know, maybe like a first and a second. And both of them are kind of like in the fringe, especially if it's like a fringe playoff team. I definitely would take a first and maybe a small piece.
Yeah, for sure.
But WR12 on KeepTradeCut is crazy.
Wow. Jinkies, Batman. All right. Should we move on to the Week 7 matchups?
Week 7 matchups. Let's go.
All right. We start Thursday Night Football off with the Jaguars at the Saints. We think T-Law is going to play.
I don't know. I haven't seen much come out. I'm gonna look right now, actually. I really hope so, because if not, that offense is gonna be scary.
Yes, indeed.
In a bad way, not in a good way. So I think what they would do is run the ball a lot, maybe more Tank, because they're gonna probably need 2 running backs there.
God, I wish they would put Tank on the
field. So I don't know. Let me see if I can find some news here. The latest news I see is 2 days ago, so I don't know if there's anything updated. But we'll do a better job next time of if we have an injury guy, we'll get some more news. That's usually Spanky.
Yeah, we'll make some phone calls. We'll make some phone calls, and we'll call the organizations, and we'll find out the answers for you guys.
Yep, 100%.
That's for sure what we do here.
Little plug for Spanky here. I was saying that I thought Derek Carr would be all right, and the Saints would be pretty good, and they were my sneaky team for, being one of the top 2, top 3. I even possibly said they could get that first round bye, so they would have been the number 1 overall.
Never.
I will be the first one to say that I was wrong, Spanky, and Ron, you guys are right. Derek Carr sucks. And he is
he was going to be all right.
Yeah. He needs to get Olave going. Last week, Olave was all right, but I think he really needs to get him the ball more.
He's never dipped below 5 targets, and he had the AC joint sprain. I believe it's on his other shoulder. I've heard it's quite painful to throw still that way. When do they get their bye week? Maybe you can rest up. They still got a few more weeks till they get there too.
I think it's a late bye week. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so I don't know. I mean, I think this is going to be a little bit, especially an ugly game if T-Law doesn't play. A lot of the Thursday night games have not been too pleasant. I thought this one, looking at the slate, I thought the game was going to be pretty good, but we'll have to wait and see some more news coming out about T-Law. Hopefully he plays. And if not, are you sitting any of your typical Jags? If probably the receiving
the
guys.
buys are murderous. No,
they are this week. Is
murderous. And I mean, there's no way I could sit Christian Kirk or Calvin Ridley right now.
Who is there? I need to look up who their backup quarterback is.
Oh, it's Beat Hard.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Bethard, but I always say Beat Hard.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Anyway. Right. Let's get into the Falcons at Bucks. Do you guys think Baker Mayfield can get back to the middle of the road? And should we expect this volume to continue for Pitts in London?
So I think I went out and bought Baker because I have two of my, unfortunately, I have 3 quarterbacks that I'm carrying on one of my teams that is more of a competing team. And I went out and bought Baker, and I got him for a third. So I didn't really spend too much. And so I think that I really hope he returns to the middle of the road. I don't think it was that bad of a game last week. I just the Lions have a really good defense.
Elite Lions defense.
I'm just kidding. Unfortunately, there was this would have totally changed, I think, Baker's output from that game if that I don't know if you saw that Mike Evans was wide open.
He missed 3 deep balls.
Yeah, but that one specifically, the ball got blocked or tipped. Or
whatever. Oh, the one where Mike Evans shoved the dude over?
Yeah. I don't know if they would have called
that's
PI, but
offensive pass interference right there. That's his fault.
So, but he did. There's a couple of balls that got batted down. So, but I think that's going to happen a lot because he's shorter, right? So, I think he'll be obviously all right against the Falcons. I know the Falcons have a solid defense, nowhere near as good as the Lions. And then I'm not putting any money on the volume of Pitts in London, but that passing looked really good last week. But unfortunately,
trending upward.
If you watch the end of that game, they had 3 opportunities to go ahead and win that game, and all 3 of those opportunities were thrown away by Desmond Ridder.
That's crushing. That's crushing. Hopefully they can get an upgrade for those weapons. All right, let's move on to the Raiders at the Bears, and I'm pretty sure this is why McSpanky took tonight off. Wow.
Although I was impressed that the Raiders beat the Packers, to be honest.
That was a good win. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a nice win. I guess it's a nice win after the Packers haven't really been very good. I'm not going to insult the Packers too much. So. So Jimmy Garoppolo is still not practicing with his back injury, to my knowledge.
Not good.
No, not good at all. Do you think we see Hoyer again, or do we get the AOC experiment?
I think we see Hoyer just because they think they're a good team. I know their defense is good, right? But they have quarterback problems, and so I think they think they're good, and they're playing the Bears, so they're going to want the guy that's going to put them in a better chance to win. I think, and then if at any point it goes south and say Jimmy G needs to be out for an extended period of time, I would assume they go and see what they have in AOC. Obviously, I don't think he's a quarterback that is someone that you want to put your team like in his hands, right?
Yeah.
He's not a quarterback of the future at all. So I don't think this is going to be a very good game. Honestly, I think the Raiders might be a sneaky defense for any redrafts that use defenses.
Yeah. How worried are you about DJ Moore?
That
very bad for DJ.
I was just gonna say that backup quarterback Badgett is not any good. Yeah. So that's not good for DJ Moore. He had a rough game last week. Maybe they can just kind of throw little tosses to him like they started out with Justin Fields.
Yeah,
but I think he's a total
screen game going.
Yeah, I think he's obviously a different quarterback from Justin Fields a little bit. But yeah, I think DJ Moore, that's going to be a rough week. But like you said earlier, there's a lot of buys, and I don't think you could sit DJ Moore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We got the Browns at the Colts. We got Minshew Mania all season long now. It's pretty exciting for Downs and Pittman and that whole crew. Maybe not this weekend against the Browns. Best of luck to you guys in that defense. Do you think we'll see Deshaun this weekend, or is he still just kind of sitting around being a sissy and
what I saw? Bruise? Yeah, what I saw is that he's still. I don't think he's practicing.
Nope.
And
got a bruise, man.
Yeah, I think he's. I kind of will use what you said, as I think he's being a sissy, that's a weird situation. So because their team is overall their offense is meh, but their defense is really, really good. So I think they would feel, although they had a good game with Dobbs. So not Dobbs, excuse me. Was it?
PJ Walker?
PJ Walker.
The XFL superstar.
Yes, PJ Walker. Excuse me. And he played a solid game, and he didn't put them in situations to lose. So I think,
I think he got lucky on a targeting call.
Yes,
that saved the drive.
I did see that. Yeah. So I don't know. I think this is going to be an ugly game. I say the Colts put up maybe 10 to 14 points.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a bad week all around offensively in that one. Okay, Commanders at Giants. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say about the Commanders and Giants.
This is I think Daniel Jones is he has a neck injury, so that's kind of
right. And his neck is really large, so it's a big target out there. So he can't go out there with that kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Not as big as Davis Mills.
Oh yeah, that's true. He'll have a neck off. You ever see giraffes fight?
Yeah, I have. That was,
dude, it's crazy, man. Yeah. They fight till they snap another one's neck. My wife was showing me the other night. It is nuts.
Wow.
Anyway,
we digress. This is going to be not a very good game. I'm glad it's not in prime time, because I felt like the Giants are in prime time every damn week. So I'm very, very happy to see that the Giants are not in prime time. Not much more to talk about there. I think this might be the game of the week. Lions at Ravens. I think the two hard-hitting defenses I think to be honest, I think the Lions have the better offense. And then, but
Keep talking.
unfortunately, unfortunately, the Lions are hurting that running back. So
Yeah.
it will be interesting to see. Do you think Gibbs plays?
So Gibbs would have practiced they had a little walkthrough today, and it was it wasn't like a walkthrough. I don't even know. It's some weird thing. It wasn't like an actual practice, but he would have had a limited practice. Is
Okay.
what they put on there. Yeah, definitely the Gibbs health. I see that old Craig Reynolds cropped up with a hammy, but he may just play through it because he's the third string running back, and this is
Who
your shot, kid.
who do they have after that?
Mohammed Ibrahim was just re-signed to the practice squad.
That's a rookie, right?
Yes. He was out of Minnesota. He's coming off a torn Achilles. He was actually really good. He was like crushing Ohio State, pretty much on his own up in Minnesota, and then he tore that Achilles in that game. Kind of sucked to see him go down. And then Divina Zigbo stepped in and took a few carries this past weekend as well against the Buccaneers, so he could also be in line for a larger role
If
based
Gibbs
off of the
doesn't,
health
yeah.
news. Yeah.
If Gibbs doesn't play,
Yeah.
and then I really hope he does play because I think with
Me too.
Montgomery out, I think he's going to get some more work, and this might be the beginning of Gibbs.
This could be it.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's gonna, go like he'll go back up at all, but I think I'm hoping it's the start of something good for Gibbs.
He's going to show what everybody's been waiting for.
Exactly. Yeah,
this is what we're hoping for here.
Yep.
I also kind of want to see if JMO can increase his role or not. His second week back, he's got a 42-yard touchdown. I thought he's going to drop that thing. He did like a little circle underneath that.
I thought he was going to as well.
Oh man!
And then I was just going to touch on the Ravens real quick. I think they need to pass the ball more because their running backs are so meh that to me they really need. And they have, I know Odell Beckham is old and whatnot, but he had a couple good runs last week after the catch that I saw, and so I think they should try to pass the ball more. And they have Mark Andrews, and they need to use him more as well. So I think that's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Should be a drag out fight in that one.
Yep,
that's for sure.
Probably not
a
ton of points, but it'll be a good game.
Yeah, we're still going over 20. Bills at Patriots. Can Mac finish 2 games in a row?
Well, how bad the Bills looked last week on Monday is, I think yes, but you never know with
Dable knows
Mac.
everything that makes Josh Allen tick and go. That's
Fair.
what I think. That's what I think happened against the New York Giants. They're like insider information is the dude was sitting right next to Josh Allen for how many years? 2 years or something like that. And I think you learn a lot about what they like to do, what they don't like to do, what they can't do, what they can do. He created a whole offense around him. I think maybe that played into it. And Josh Allen can just be a crazy person at times too. So
100%. But I think the Patriots have a couple defenders out, so I think the Bills are probably gonna get right this game. And so I think they're gonna probably put up a good amount of points. It's always nice.
I agree.
I think it's always nice to crush the Patriots, and I think this is the time they can do it.
Yeah, they got to win for a very long time. That's for sure. Okay, we got the Cardinals at the Seahawks. Still kind of trying to figure out that running back room, aren't we, in Arizona? Is it going to be DeMarcado? Is it going to be who's there? Keontae Ingram? What else is there? They just signed somebody too, I think.
Damian Williams.
Yeah, the Super Bowl hero, Damian Williams.
So I think it'll be a committee as well, and I think I don't really want any of them. I'm hoping people won't have to start any of them. I know DeMarcado was like a big waiver guy, but unfortunately he didn't really do much. I think he only did well at the end of 2 weeks ago because they didn't really have anybody else. Ingram was still out. And so I think they're going to continue to go with a committee. And obviously they didn't like what they saw out of Ingram and DeMarcado, and they went out and signed Damian Williams. So
Sure.
I personally don't want any part of any of those three. And I still don't really like that Cardinals offense very much. Hollywood Brown's putting together some solid games, but he might be all right this week because people can put up points against the Seahawks. Their defense isn't that good. So obviously I would play your Hollywood Brown shares, and then I think it'll be a good week for DK Metcalf. The Cardinals as well don't really have that good of a defense, so I think the Seahawks can put up some good points.
They're scrappy, man. They're scrappy, but
Yeah.
you see the return of DK coming. JSN has finally done something. He almost surpassed 50 yards in a game, so that's great for him.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
I think they're using him a little bit better, but I would say also that it's a little, it's hard to see. Like Gino's not doing as well as he did last year. Obviously, that's going to be hard to do. He had like an amazing year last year. But just overall, I feel like Gino's taken a step back, or he's moved back to kind of what he was before last year.
Well, there was a reason that he wasn't a starting quarterback for
True.
8 years.
Very true.
He had an awesome year last year, but it's be kind of lightning striking twice, really. To put another season like that together. That's for sure.
Yep. Agreed.
Just with his history, basically. I'm super happy he never wrote anybody back, though. I really am. That's one of my favorites. I love that quote, dude. Okay, Steelers at the Rams. Do you think the Steelers fixed any of their offensive woes over this bye week that they had? And will Deontay Johnson return to the field?
I honestly think what will help them is I think Deontay is going to be back, and I also think Freiermuth will be back. So I think that will help a lot. But I think this is going to be a pretty good game as well, as I think both those teams are kind of like right in the middle of the road. But I think the Rams have a much better offense, and the Rams have a pretty sneaky, solid defense. So I think they could, I think it's going to be a pretty close game because the Steelers always play really well.
How excited are you to see Aaron Donald tear through that line?
Yeah,
to just
run
back to Kenny Pickett.
That's what I was going to say. The one thing that could get scary for the Steelers would be Aaron Donald. So
yeah,
this will be a good game to watch, I think.
Yeah, what do you think? You think a Najee resurgence? The Steelers have gone back to the, from the bye week, and they're, we're going back to old school Steelers football. We're running the ball.
I think that's what they will do, but I'm still in the same boat as I was before. I do not like Najee, and to me, he looks like he's running in mud. I think Jaylen Warren, I don't know if overall he's the better running back, but he looks better when he runs the ball.
He does. Yeah.
Much better. So I think they're going to probably try to keep using Najee more, but I personally think they should use Warren more. And I think moving forward, I think Warren is kind of a sneaky guy to go out and buy just maybe on any team, because I think if Najee keeps, tripping up, I think that they'll go to Warren a little bit more. And I don't know if their team, I don't know if you know off the top of your head what their record is, but I think they'll probably, I think they're obviously third behind both of the Ravens and the
they beat
Browns.
The Ravens.
So, okay. So
I think they beat the Browns too.
So the Steelers always do this, right? They always
play really like 2 defensive touchdowns in both those games.
Yeah. Now I remember now. They always do this. They play really well against their in the division, and then out of the division they're just meh. So we'll see. I think they might, if they
just good enough.
I think if they have a hard time with Najee a little bit longer, I think they'll probably just turn to Warren.
Man, how the mighty have fallen.
100%. Yeah.
From his first round draft stock, Najee Harris. Okay. Chargers at Chiefs. I think it would be super nice if Patrick Mahomes had somebody like Tyreek Hill to throw the ball to.
It would be. But they did trade for Mecole Hardman.
Wonderful, because that worked out well the first time.
Yep.
So you definitely get back with your exes always. It always
Always.
goes better.
Yep.
So
Second.
the second time around here,
Yeah.
you got ship them off one time, get them back again, because then you can do third time's the charm.
Yeah, exactly right. So ship them off and then get them back right before the trade
Right
deadline.
before the game. Yeah.
So I was watching the game on Monday night, and the Chargers always do something to mess it up. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't really know if it's Justin. I think it is the coaching. I agree 100%. But I mean, part of me thinks it's a little bit. It's probably the coaching of Justin Herbert, right? I think they could have put him in better situations. So I think 100% we can kind of lean toward the coaching. So I think I'm going to kind of say it. The Chargers are going to probably be ahead. Maybe they'll tie, or it'll be tied, going into the fourth quarter. And then the Chargers will have the ball with 2 minutes left, maybe down by 3, almost get into field goal range. And then again, they'll either turn the ball over or Justin Herbert will get sacked. Easy. We can write these stories simple.
Easy peasy stuff. Man, I really wish that Patrick Mahomes actually did have a wide receiver though, because honestly,
agreed.
it's kind of troublesome to watch him just like spin around and do circles in the pocket and just like, throw the ball and then just, I mean, sometimes it's not even accurate anymore. Like I just, I think he's a little bit lost out there without another person outside of Travis Kelce. I'll tell Mrs. Ron.
Thanks, Wes.
Sorry.
Wes would never let Ron go.
That's
Wes would never let Ron go.
We could hug forever.
And I personally think Travis Kelce would do better if there was another person there taking some coverage away, right? You can only throw to Travis Kelce so much. He can only be open so much. I mean, the guy's not always open, but he's open a ton, and you can only throw to him so much, right? And so I think overall it would help Kelce. It would help Mahomes. I mean, it would help so much if they had another wide receiver.
Yeah, man. If just one of these guys could just become semi-reliable.
Yeah. Do you think it's
a big deal?
I'm sure it's possible, but do you think they could go out and grab somebody at the trade deadline, or do you think they're good?
They already did.
Yes, I see that, but I don't think
wide receiver 1 in town, dude.
Yeah, I don't think Mecole Hardman's going to get anything. I think JB said it in the Discord, and he said I think Mecole Hardman's good for about 5 to 7 PPR points a week, which I couldn't agree more. Right? I don't think. I mean, I think somebody said that Mecole Hardman's had some spike games, and any of those wide receivers could have a spike game by getting a touchdown.
Yeah, I can see him like housing a deep shot, some things of that nature here and there, but you're never going to be happy, that he's
not at all.
There. You're like, oh God, I got to start Mecole Hardman. That's kind of how I think about it.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's big elephant in the room, Quentin Johnston has been out-targeted by the lowly Josh Palmer.
So I'm not too worried about him going away from Josh Palmer targeting him more, because they love Josh Palmer in LA. I think this coaching staff loves him, but I don't think it's good when you use first round draft capital and you don't use that guy at all. Right? So I don't know if it's the coaching or if it's Quentin Johnston. I was a little worried about him, so I was really in on him in the beginning of the draft process and everything.
Super nice landing spot.
Then I was a little bit down, and then he got the good landing spot, and then so I was kind of like, okay, cool. But man, it's just all but bad, since he's gotten there. Was dropping balls in preseason, so I think he's kind of on the bad list with the coaching staff. So I don't know, and I thought that he'd get some more work when Big Mike Williams went out. But unfortunately, they just keep using Palmer. But I don't know. I think he's a long-term product. I think maybe when Keenan Allen, and I think they turn over like Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, even Mike Williams, if those 3 guys move away, you know, and I maybe they kind of turn over the team next year. But I think they put a lot of money into their defense, and so I think they're kind of like all in right now, and it's kind of not going well.
Not going great. Probably looking at a head coaching change if these things continue to happen for sure there.
Yep, and every week I'm surprised that he keeps his job.
Yeah, it's never. I don't like for immediate changes for rookies when they come, into the league. I know it happens a lot and happens all the time, but these guys aren't attached to you. They didn't draft you. They didn't pick you. They could just be like, you're not my kind of guy, and send him packing.
Yep.
We see it happen.
100%.
It's just another little wrench to throw in the mixture there.
With the Chargers,
yeah. Packers at Broncos.
Oh, that's gonna be a gross game.
Yeah. Do you think Jordan Love is gonna bounce back?
Well, depends which Broncos defense shows up, because last week their defense showed up and it was, okay.
Sure.
And so it'll be interesting to see which Broncos defense shows up. If the bad one shows up, I think Jordan Love does bounce back a little bit. But I think what we've seen they had a bye last week, right? So I don't know. I think the bye is probably good for Jordan Love. I think we'll probably see a little bit more what we did before, obviously, the Lions game. And so I think he'll be kind of in the middle. To me, he's just kind of a middling, like 20 to 25 ranked quarterback.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Any of the wide receivers? You want to fire any of them up?
Well, I personally hate Christian Watson, so I don't have any. I don't have any shares in him, so I don't have to worry about him.
Yeah, I don't think I got a couple.
Unfortunately, honestly, I like Luke Musgrave. And then
it'd be nice
Dobbs,
if he did something.
It would be. And then Dobbs, has been kind of, I feel like, Love's favorite target.
Yeah, so he's the volume guy, that's for
sure. Those were probably the only two guys I feel comfortable about starting outside of Aaron Jones if he plays. That guy, I don't know either, like, if he's ever going to play or not. So,
yeah. And then, it could be a quick exit. Even if he does play with that hamstring. They linger, and he's getting, the age and blah, 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 blah. Yep. Any interest in Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, and your boy Marvin Mims?
So I'm on the side of Steve Smith, right? Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
So no, I don't like Jeudy. I don't know what's going on with Jeudy. I think he needs to be traded. And then if there was one I need to start, I would start Cortland Sutton. I feel pretty comfortable with the connection him and Russell Wilson have. I think it's been 2 games in a row now that Cortland Sutton has had a touchdown. So I think I'll be starting Sutton in a couple spots, especially with how bad or how many like solid fantasy options are on bye this week. Definitely, I feel pretty confident starting Sutton. Unfortunately, I saw that what's his name? The tight end's going to go back on the IR.
Oh, Dolchich.
Thank you. Yeah.
Gabbana. Yeah. I was never really into Dolchich, so I didn't pay too much attention to that. It's a bit odd to get activated and then go back down that quickly. I don't. Yeah. Was there a re-injury in the game? Is that what happened to him?
I think that could be it. I didn't look too much into it. I just saw. Okay. I was looking at some things, and I have a couple shares of him, and so yeah. All right, I think this is going to be finally a really good primetime Sunday night football game.
Yes.
Dolphins at Eagles. I'm hoping the good Eagles show up. Usually they do against good teams. They usually show up.
Gotta get up for this one, that's for sure.
Yep.
Can they keep up?
I think so. Unfortunately, I think we talked about it a little bit, but Devonta Smith has that hamstring injury. It kind of popped up late in the week, so I'm hoping that he'll play. I haven't seen anything about him not playing. I know he was. Did he not practice today?
No practice for him today, to my knowledge.
So that will be a bummer if he doesn't play. But I think if he doesn't play, I think there's going to be a lot more Dallas Goedert. And then obviously a ton of AJ. ton of
Yeah.
AJ Brown, but I think the first
Right.
person that kind of goes out the window is Goddard when both of those guys play.
Sure.
And so I think it's going to be a really good game. And then I don't think Gainwell is going to cut into Swiss work at all. When Gainwell's he doesn't play much, like play well in my actually. And then I think it was maybe JB that posted it. And when they have Swift in the red zone, they score a touchdown on like 60-70% of the time. And then when Gainwell's in, it's like down to 20-30%.
I don't know if it was just me, but like, so when I was watching Red Zone this past weekend, I just felt like every time they flashed to the Eagles, I kept seeing Kenny Gainwell. So then I was like, that's why I had the Swift question, and I didn't look at any of the numbers before I asked the question. I should have just looked.
Yeah, probably should look at the numbers as well, but no, just from the eye, like I know I kind of saw that as well, and so I was like, but I think in the red zone and the kind of like important work is going to go to Swift.
Sure.
I think kind of like in the middle of the field, like obviously if you're watching red zone, it should be red zone,
Right.
but sometimes they don't show only red zone stuff.
Right.
So
Sometimes
it was a little bit alarming to see if it's on red zone to see Gainwell, but I think last week was really kind of a fluke game, and the Jets have a really good defense. So
Yes,
I think
do.
it's kind of a fluke game for the Eagles. But I'm hoping they bounce back here because it should be a really good game.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to watch that one. That's for sure. Okay, let's move into the 49ers at Vikings. Kind of talked about McCaffrey and Debo.
We did.
A sneaky one. Did Trent Williams return to that game?
I don't think any of the people, the three people that got injured, came back. And so you kind of put it here, but I think Purdy again will have a really rough time if McCaffrey and Debo are both not going to be able to play. I know they're only playing the Vikings, but I think something like that could happen, right? Because I personally don't think Purdy I think he's solid, but I think it's more being with CMC and Debo and all the good people, right? And so I don't think if they ever found somebody better, like say he has a couple bad games, right? And I think and I know this is just kind of out of the blue, but I think if say Kirk Cousins did want to trade and like say, because Shanahan loves him, I think that's something they would do. Right. And so I don't think, like somebody brought this up in one of my random leagues, and I think Purdy is not somebody that is secure in his role next year.
Yeah, I could see that definitely being a possibility, especially with the state of the Vikings and possibly Kirk Cousins, Kyle Shanahan reunion, and just the fact of he was the Mr. Irrelevant, the very last pick of the draft. He's not being paid anything.
Yep.
Yeah, so and I agree. If if he doesn't have these guys on the field, he can't put the whole team on his back.
Yep, 100%. He's not that type of quarterback. He has a really good connection with Ayuk. So I think Ayuk, if Debo and McCaffrey don't play, I think Ayuk is going to have a big game, and I think also Kittle will have a big game. But I do think the weapons are what make Purdy the quarterback he is, right? And so if anybody comes along, right, and say they lose, they're not going to miss the playoffs, but say they lose in the first round of the playoffs and Purdy doesn't have a good game. I know they're saving a lot of money with him, but in order to take that next step, they're going to I think they need a different quarterback. Obviously, it wasn't Jimmy
Trey
G.
Lance.
Yeah, or Trey Lance, obviously, but more I was thinking Jimmy G. So
okay,
I think this could be an okay game, right? Because I think I still think the Vikings can put up numbers, and so I think also the 49ers. But if McCaffrey and Debo play, I think it's going to kind of get out of hand.
Sure. Alrighty, well, that does it for the games. What do you got for your 2-minute drive here, Aller?
So I know Jay talked about it a little bit last week, but I'm really starting to look into my teams and either go for it or send away my better players for picks or for young players, right? And so unfortunately, sometimes you're going to have to bite the bullet and send away some players for a little bit of cheaper than you would like. But I think as long as you're getting some picks back, if you're if you're rebuilding, right? So as long as you're getting some picks back in some promising young players, I think you're in a good spot. I personally have a hard time taking 2025 picks. Unfortunately, I did today just because that team is not really good. I think it's more like 2 years away. So it's going to take a little bit of time. It's one of our Fantasy Effect listener leagues. It's number 1. So I did trade away Terry McLaurin for 25 second and a 24 third and Tajay Spears.
Yeah.
And so I traded that away. And so I think Pollard left. I have a couple trades in my inbox that I'm looking at to maybe move off of Pollard. So just kind of really, I think this week and next week are kind of the turning point for buyers. And then if you're being a seller, this is the time before you're going to have to really, really bite that bullet.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. What I have for my underdogs here, Dolphins, Giants, and Falcons are all underdogs this weekend, and I'm going to take all those teams. Falcons play the Buccaneers, Giants play the Commanders, and the Dolphins play the Eagles, as we talked about.
I like all, but I personally, I don't know. Yeah, I know you're not a big Baker guy, so I think that's kind of why. But I don't know the Falcons. I can go either way with them. I don't know. They should have beat Washington last week, so we'll see. I think
it's truly a coin flip game. I think the Buccaneers defense is really good. Yep. Maybe the Buccaneers do hit those deep shots, and I just look like a fool at the end of this. But I don't bet on the damn Lions, so I can't take their underdogs this weekend. I can't do it. Yep. If they lose, I'll never forgive myself for it. All right, should we get out of here?
Let's get out of here. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
See ya.
Thanks for being in the chat.